Batman and Robin, Year One, Issue 4. Mark Waid writing with Chris Samnee on the art. So now this is the Waid book that's really popping though right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because we had the cliffhanger in the last issue where Batman goes out of the water after they were confronting some of the gangsters and Two-Face on the ship. And Robin starts this issue with diving in after him and trying to desperately save him because he's scared that he's going to lose him. And there's some just fun selling art of like Batman sending him back up and then getting himself out from underneath this big shipping crate on his own. And it's all sort of, dark red coloring, which is not what you think of when you think of underwater. But
No.
it's definitely a visual because when they get back up top and it is blue again, and Batman does pop back up, and he's kind of mad at Robin for doing that. It's like, hey, you could have drowned. He's like, I could have helped. And Batman kind of catches himself and says, the flashlight was helpful. Let's just get to the ball. Like, he sort of catches himself and sort of says, okay, you did help a little bit. So I'm enjoying this progression of their early days relationship that they're playing with.
Yeah. Well, just the red representative of danger, right, in color theory. So they're underneath there and all that. So yeah, and it's the stark contrast with the blue, like you said. Somni's expressions are top notch. That Robin down at the bottom, him looking up at Batman when he says, Two-Face shouted his name, and it's just like this kind of bewildered, disappointed, like, oh man, oh shucks, I messed up. Really sells the scene.
Yeah, the art here is very. I mean, obviously we're not surprised to say that it's Somni.
Yeah.
But we get more of the villain, where it seems like the villain's about to kill his father by pushing him off the edge of the building, and he doesn't do it, but the dad definitely thinks he's going to.
I could have, is what he could have done. Like, look what I could have done. You couldn't stop me.
Yeah, he basically says, I won't kill you because I want you to see what a successful gangster looks like, because you were shit, Dad. I'm way better than you.
Yeah. Definitely feels a bit Breaking Bad, a bit, what was his Uncle Hector, right? And he's stuck in the chair.
Yeah. Although I don't remember any of his family wanting to kill him, though.
No, but that's what I just mean. It's like this guy that was once something great, and now he's in this chair. So I'm sure this plot point will come up towards the end. I'm sure, him dangling his dad over like that will come to pay a consequence.
Now, of course, Hector's rivals definitely wanted to kill him, though, for the record. But family members, not so much.
Yes.
He basically talks about how his father was this loud gangster who wanted to show strength all the time, whereas he understands that real powerful people rule from the shadows and do it quietly when people don't know you exist. So it's not about the glory of being publicly feared or whatever. But of course, he does find out that Batman now knows his name because of Two-Face yelling it out. So they want to find Two-Face. That's where we leave off in that scene. And then we come back to the social services lady coming by for a surprise visit and being frustrated because the last time she's tried to do this, no one's been home. So Alfred's like covering for them, and he's like, yeah, they'll be home. I mean, they'll be awake soon. I'm sure they'll be up any second now. Batman and Robin are just arriving in the cave, and like the silent alarm's going off, and Batman's like, "Oh, quick, run, get upstairs!" So yeah, there's a whole charade where Alfred's like saying to Dick, "Hey, put these pajamas on, and pretend you just got up," and he's like, "But I'm wide awake," and he just like gives him this like angry look, like, "Boy, do what you're told."
I love that, but I'm already dressed because he's in the clothes to put the pajamas on. I also love. I don't think I've ever seen this before. The boxes to denote like a hushed whisper. They got dotted lines around the speech bubbles. I thought that was a fun little stylistic choice.
I feel like I've seen that before. I couldn't tell you where, but I feel like I've seen it before.
Yeah. So I just love that. It denotes like they're talking like this. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and then when he does come in and she starts asking him questions, he's like, "Oh yeah, I spend a lot of time with Bruce Wayne. He's a good teacher." And she's like, "Oh, what does he teach you?" A ton about Gotham City. I know a lot about the crime rates." And you just see like Bruce's eyebrow go up and like, "Watch it, Dick, watch it."
Well, there's that. And it's like, "What have you been doing to stay busy?" He's like, "I went swimming." There's just, I could see the scene play out in like a movie, and we just see Bruce and Alfred's reaction behind him, you know, their shocked faces because they think he's going to give something away.
Yeah,
It's just it's played expertly.
but there's all these little shreds of truth in what he's saying technically about what he's been doing, and of course, like she's a little bit annoyed that it seems like he's staying up late and waking up too late, and I'm like, geez, lady, you would hate my sleeping pattern.
Yeah.
But
You're also not a child that's meant to go to school. You're an adult that makes your own decisions.
yeah, but I was the exact same when I was a teenager, Matt. This is not new.
So I guess who you are as a teen kind of who you are, because I was in bed early. I need my sleep.
No, I never was. I was always a up all night kind of guy. But yeah, so she's like, hey, but what she gets these. But anyway, the funny end of this scene though is that they keep saying about tomorrow being an important day, and she leaves, and he's like, hey, what's tomorrow? What's tomorrow? And he's like, oh, it's the first day of September tomorrow. It's like, wait, therefore what? And I like, just as she's getting into her car, the giant speech bubble coming out of the house saying school. He's clearly not pleased with this revelation that he has to go to school. He somehow thought that being Robin meant that he, because this has all been playing out over the summer. You know, he thought this would just be what he'd be doing now. And it's like, no, you still have to actually have all the other normal childhood things too.
Well, there's that, and it's got to think, when was the last time he was in school? He just came from the circus.
That's a good point. Yeah, what was his school life like when he was on the road? Maybe he was homeschooled or yeah, something.
So now he has to go be around all these people he doesn't know. Ugh. No, thank you.
Yeah, he's very pissed about that. Although Batman does do some bat work away from Robin after this, because he basically distracts a bunch of the guards for the villain with bats in a crate, and then has a one-on-one with this Mr. Grimaldi, or General Grimaldi, I should say.
Grimaldi.
And is like, hey, we're going to have a talk, you and me. So Grimaldi gets all, all tough, and is like, hey, like, you know, like, I'm taking over this town, blah blah blah. Batman brings up his time in the military, his discharge, all that stuff. But Batman basically just says, hey, you've got 24 hours to leave my city, or you'll have to deal with me. And that's when these guys come in, and he's like, hey, kill him. Batman gets away, of course. Really fun couple of pages though in the art here. All the angled, there's all the panels where he's running up the stairs away from them and like dropping, you know, smoke pellets or putting sensors down for the bats to come in there. It's all angled like stairs, so there's just a little bit of an action sort of slant to everything. And there's a great one that's split up into 3 panels where Batman's sort of like jumping through the panels, and it's like we're just missing him in each panel until the last one where he's actually there, like, you know, with his cape up, like deflecting bullets. Really good stuff.
Really good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice sequential stuff. And then I also love when he jumps out the window at the end and he sort of like throws a smoke bomb up and then jumps through the smoke that's been created from it. It just looks really cool.
The color work here, right? We go from like these yellows with the gunshots and the cool blues of like an office building, and he jumps out and it's like purples and reds and that side of the color wheel. I don't know what the color in between you would call that is, like that lavender, I guess. And just the color work Samnee's playing with here too is top of the game.
Yeah, so Batman gets away, of course, and the villain's like, oh, well, I've underestimated... But he actually says, like, hey, there won't be a punishment this time for letting him get away. I'm blaming myself for this. I've underestimated him. And basically this intercuts with Dick being dropped off for his first day in school. And the caption is, from the villain, is like, oh, there's no prison on Earth that can hold some people. And that you read that as Dick's looking at the school, and I'm like, oh, Dick's going to get out of there. Like Dick's breaking out of school, and that's going to be a whole conflict point next issue, I bet. So
Operation Recess.
Operation Recess. Very good. No, I mean, I'm still loving this book. I'm loving the slow build to this villain and his like power levels. I think there's a good compelling thing. The whole almost killing his own father, who's in a wheelchair, felt super dark. Gave you the right kind of tone for him. And I think the guidance counselor stuff, or the social services worker coming by to check in and stuff, I think that stuff's been really good so far and really added like an extra layer to this. It's not just them working as Batman and Robin, it's every single facet of like Dick taking this character in as a ward is, I think, been really well explored here in this book. I think it's like probably the best thing Wade's written since he's come back to DC. Now, you know, I'm saying that after, 4 issues now. I feel quite confident in saying that it feels like it's really hitting everything I want it to be hitting.
Yeah, because it's only 6 issues, right?
That may be right. It could. I think you may be right. I think you may be right, but part of me wanted to say it could be 12, but I think you might be right. It's only 6.
Okay, I mean, because if that's the case, it's well paced because we're about halfway through. We have a big altercation here.
Yeah.
With the with the main villain, we kind of really get to know who he is, and yeah.
Who knows though? I mean, maybe this will be a thing where it's 6 issues, but then he does a year 2 and continues, this version of these characters or something.
Yeah,
I could be into that. But yeah, and and for the record, the other thing that's my favorite of his that he's done at DC since he came back is his Shazam run. I really liked, but I think this is actually edging out that a little bit.
So upon further review, it looks like it's a 12 issue.
That's 12. Okay, good. I'm glad actually.
We're a quarter through, but still the pacing still stands. Like if you break it up into smaller chunks, this is still paced pretty well.
I think it feels more paced for 12 than it does 6. So I'm glad that it's 12. It feels just right for 12. Mm-hmm. So that's great. That's great. All right, what are you giving Batman and Robin Year 1?
I'm gonna give this a 9. I really enjoyed this issue.
I can't argue with it. Yeah, 9 out of 10. It's excellent.